It started with a verse. Just one verse. We'd been arguing that night, Mira and I, over a song we couldn't agree on. She said the lyrics were too raw, too close to her truth. I said they didn't fit the melody. We'd been together 5 years, and for 4 of them, we spoke mostly through music. That night, we stopped speaking altogether.
You're cutting the verse again. You always cut the parts that sounds like me.
I told her it wasn't about her, that it was just structure. But she knew. She always knew. She stormed out, and that was the last time I saw her. She never made it home. They said the road was slick, a single car crash. She didn't survive. Even now, I can still hear her voice sometimes, trapped in the parts I deleted. A year later, and I still wake up from the same dream. The fight. The door slamming. Her voice fading down the hall. Sometimes, I can still hear her humming before she left. Like the song never ended, just went somewhere else. They say grief fades with time, but for me, it just changed its rhythm, slower, deeper, always playing in the background. Last month, Mira's old label reached out. They're re-releasing our unfinished album, Half Light, and they wanted me to remaster the original sessions. At first, I said no, told them it'd be like reopening a wound that never healed. But then I thought maybe finishing it could let her rest. So I said yes. And last week, for the first time in a year, I stepped inside Studio E. It smelled the same. Dust, wood polish, and that faint metallic scent that lives inside old wires. Everything was exactly how we'd left it, except for her chair. It was empty, facing the mic booth, like she might walk in any minute. For a second, I almost said her name out loud. Almost. Then I turned on the system, and the console light blinked red, like it remembered me. The room was smaller than I remembered, or maybe I was just heavier with time. Dust drifted in the shaft of light from the cracked window. The monitors blinked awake, their blue glow crawling across the console. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. I started with the basics. Cleanup work. Leveling her old takes, adjusting gain, balancing harmonies. It was mechanical. Safe. Until I exported one track. Then I noticed something strange. An unfamiliar file appeared in the folder. verse_mira_0001.wav. I froze. I didn't remember making that file. Didn't remember naming it. Didn't even remember recording anything with that prefix. I opened it. The waveform appeared on screen. Short, distorted, fragile. But it had her initials in the metadata. And then, her voice.
You always wanted to sing alone.
It was her. I swear it was her. I checked the backups, the drive history, every single session folder. Nothing. It was like the file appeared from nowhere, like it had been waiting there all along. I stared at the screen for what felt like hours. The waveform looked just like her last take. Same pattern, same peaks, except one thing. It was longer. I pressed play again. This time I could swear she was humming before the line, as if she knew I was listening.
You always wanted to sing alone.
I shut the system down. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. On the way home, I kept replaying those words in my head. You always wanted to sing alone. That night I dreamed of the studio. Only this time the console wasn't off. It glowed red. And behind the glass booth Someone was singing. The next morning, I told myself it was nothing. A leftover file, a sync glitch, a trick of tired ears. I reopened the same project, same folder, same timeline. Except the waveform for verse mirror 0001 had changed. It was longer, almost twice as long. I pressed play.
You tuned me out like static. You kept my voice, but not my name.
My hands went cold. The lines were new. I never wrote them, but I knew exactly what they meant. That night, before she died, we thought about credits, about who really wrote the bridge, about whose name should come first, and now she was singing about it, inside a file that shouldn't exist. I needed someone else to hear it, so I called Arun, our old sound engineer. He came by that evening. When he walked in, I didn't even say hello, just pointed at the screen. "Listen," I said. "Tell me what you hear." He frowned, tilted his head. "It's just you, man. One vocal. Yours. No, listen. Underneath. She's harmonizing. There's no harmony, Riven. That's you, doubled." That's when I realized. I was the only one who could hear her. He told me to get some rest. Left me sitting there, staring at the empty mic booth. But I could still feel her in the room. Not like a presence, more like an unfinished chord. A note that refuses to resolve.
You kept my voice, but not my name.
I stopped sleeping. Stopped leaving the studio. Days blurred into nights, nights into static. The outside world just faded. Every time I exported a song, a new file appeared. Verse _ 0002, verse _ 0003. Each one more personal than the last. Each one sharper, crueler, true.
You took my lines and called them yours. You buried my name beneath the mix.
I tried deleting them, but every time I did, they came back. Each one longer, each one clearer. She wasn't haunting me, she was finishing what I'd erased. I told myself I'd prove it wasn't real. I'd isolate the frequencies, overlay her vocals with mine, find the pattern. I opened the session, stacked her last take against my newest, aligned every breath, every pause, every syllable. Then, something clicked. The DAW froze for a second, and a message appeared on screen. Dual vocal detected. Sync achieved. My throat went dry. And then...
Now you hear what I heard.
What? What did I do?
You took my verse. You took my name. Now yours is mine.
The studio lights flickered. The monitors pulsed with each heartbeat, and for the first time, I heard our voices merge. Perfectly. It wasn't a recording anymore. It was alive. The song was breathing. Through me. Through her. I tried to stop playback, but the button wouldn't respond. The song just kept looping. Her lines melted into mine until I couldn't tell which of us was singing. Maybe that's how it's always been. Maybe I never sang alone. That night, I decided to prove it was real. I set up cameras, screen recorders, every input I could think of. If this was madness, I'd catch it in motion. I armed the mic, opened a new track. The title field filled itself in. verse_final.wav. For a moment, I just stared at it. My hand hovered over the record key. Then I pressed it. I started singing the song we fought about. The one she said I'd never understand. Halfway through, my voice cracked. But the song didn't stop. She kept singing. Her voice came through the headphones, so close it felt like she was standing behind me, breathing with me, finishing the words I'd erased. I stumbled back, tore the headphones off, but her voice didn't fade. It filled the room. Every wall, every cable, every inch of air vibrating with her. "Mira," I whispered, but I didn't hear my voice anymore. The waveform on screen was moving. 2 tracks in perfect sync, each beat pulsing together like a shared heartbeat. The DAW displayed one line of text: "File saved, verse_final, .wav." I hit play. Only my voice came out, but I could see hers in the analyzer, like a shadow just behind mine. I boosted the gain, and then I heard her. So close it felt like she was whispering through my ribs. "Now it's complete." Everything went still. No hum, no static, no me. Just her last note, sustaining. Then, silence. Sometimes, when I close my eyes, I can still hear that harmony. Her voice and mine, merging, endlessly repeating the same verse, the one I never let her sing.
My name is Aaron. I was Riven's friend and his sound engineer. The last time I spoke to him, he sounded confused, dazed, almost at the verge of madness. He said something about a verse, a song that was finishing itself, that she was back, that he could hear her. At first I thought it was grief, the kind that loops until it starts sounding like music. But when I couldn't reach him after that night, I started to worry. Calls went unanswered, emails bounced back. His apartment was dark, untouched, a cup of tea still half full on the table. I tried for days, and finally I decided to drive to Studio E. When I arrived, the door was coated in dust, the windows fogged from the inside. It didn't make sense. He was just here a few days ago. I hesitated, then pushed it open. The air was heavy, stale with the scent of metal and damp wood. The lights flickered weakly. Old cables snaked across the floor, coated in dust. Everything looked untouched, as if no one had been there for years. Then I saw the console. It was still on. Playback paused at 3:17 a.m. The monitor glowed faintly. A single file was open. verse_final.wav. 2 tracks, perfectly layered, still looping in silence. I pressed play. Only Riven's voice came through the speakers. A single human tone, lonely, incomplete. But underneath, deep in the mix, something trembled. A harmony almost too soft to hear, too human to ignore. I turned the volume up. "Now it's complete." The words barely touched the air, just enough to make my pulse stutter. I stopped the playback, opened the metadata. Composer, Riven and Mira, final session. Then I noticed the timestamp, last modified, October 17th, 2020, almost 5 years ago. The studio fell silent again, except for one thing, the soft loop of Riven's final note, repeating beneath the static, blending with her faint harmony, until both voices became one. "Now it's complete."
If the lights flickered while you watched this, maybe it's just the algorithm noticing you. Feed it. Like the story. Subscribe before it forgets your name. And share it, because echoes grow louder when more people listen after 3 a.m.